video. There was a post that Piers Morgan made that I actually did a little reaction to in the video that I made yesterday about the Sydney Harbour takeover. It was towards the end of the video. So if you didn't get to the end of the video, you may have missed this very stupid post from Piers Morgan, but I'll repeat it again and I will dissect it a little bit more in this video because I feel like he's so he's profiting a lot from anti-Semitism and he's not very intelligent to see much at all about what's going on. I think his IQ about the whole Gaza is Israel situation is quite low. But that's just Piers Morgan for you. He's a grifter, right? He makes money from people and like these provocative statements. And at the moment, we've noticed that going against Israel is quite profitable. So anyway, Piers goes, it's interesting that all the prominent pro-Israeli voices on here who refuse to believe any Gazan casualty numbers published by the Hamas-run Palestinian Health Ministry accept the veracity of hostage pics / videos posted by Hamas without hesitation. Again, one of the dumbest things I have heard Piers Morgan say in quite some time. We know that Hamas is a terrorist organization. We know that the Gazan Health Ministry has been accused many times of lying and fudging numbers because they're run by a terrorist organization. So why in the world would you not believe in the videos or the photos that a terrorist organization posts? Why wouldn't you believe? Why would you think they're fake? Why would you think that Israel is making all that up? For what exactly? When Hamas, in their very charter, wants to wipe out every single Israeli, wants to wipe out every single Jew. They're not ashamed of any of this stuff. They posted videos, for goodness sake, of their atrocities on October 7th. Piers Morgan. So honestly, think before you post. What you did here was run cover once again for the terrorist organization, Hamas. That's what you did. No brains whatsoever. There's loads of people that are just like Piers Morgan. Oh, we don't believe in the Hamas-run Palestinian Health Ministry, their numbers, what's coming out of there, because, you know, the propaganda machine for a terrorist organization, have you ever thought about this? Maybe they want to blow things out of proportion to make themselves look good. Or at the same time, make the hostages because they hate Israelis. You've got two things going on. You've got the Palestinian Health Ministry run by Hamas. You got them and they want the world to see them as the victim. And they also do not care how the Israelis are treated because they know full well that useful idiots like Piers Morgan are going to do exactly what you just did and say, why would you believe that Hamas is treating the hostages so poorly? Why would you believe that Hamas wouldn't go into a music festival on October 7th and then massacre a lot of innocent Israelis and then grape a lot of the women too, taking hostages as well? Why do you think? Just think for a second, Piers Morgan. Oh, wait, longer than a second, because this is clearly you thinking for a second. Maybe you should do a little bit more research into the terrorist group that you are supporting. They know that the world does not care about the Israeli hostages. They know. Hence why they released the video. It's a shame thing. Because they know that a vast majority of their supporters would just go, oh, this is Israeli propaganda. This is rubbish. Why would Hamas do this to Israeli prisoners? There's no starvation going on with the Israeli prisoners. No. Psychological warfare. Ever heard of it, Piers Morgan? I don't think so. Joe Trusman says this. Piers, I've followed Hamas and other Palestinian armed groups for years, and I want to respond based on long-standing observation and experience. There is good reason for pro-Israel voices and others to be skeptical of casualty data coming out of Gaza, particularly from the Hamas-run health ministry and more broadly from any governing branch under Hamas's control. Yes. Beyond the examples raised by other people in this thread, one crucial and often overlooked point undermines the credibility of Hamas casualty figures, the absence of significant number of martyrdom notices of fallen members in previous conflicts between Israel and Palestinian factions. Groups like Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad publicly honored their dead fighters. Martyrdom notices were standard, quick to be published both as a cultural and ideological tool. They were issued to glorify the fallen and reframe the narrative of so-called resistance. But in this war, that practice has largely disappeared. You know why? Because it makes them look like the victim. They've changed it. But then in the same instance, they're going, we love death more than we love life. Psychological warfare. Very, very good at it, I might add, because people fall for it. Hamas has published martyrdom notices for top members like Yahya Sinwar, Mohammed Daif, Marwan Issa, and other senior commanders. Yes, some obituaries have surfaced online on affiliated Telegram channels or from family members on Facebook, but these are unofficial. Hamas and PIJ have not released formal notices like it has in past wars. Why the sudden silence? The plausible explanation is this. Hamas and PIJ have suffered devastating losses, possibly between 20 to 30,000 fighters. That's far higher than in any previous round of fighting. Publicly acknowledging this would expose the extent of their military losses and undermine the narrative they're aggressively pushing that Israel is committing a genocide in Gaza. It's important to understand that the health ministry does not distinguish between combatants and non-combatants. It simply reports on aggregated deaths. The current Ministry of Health claims standards at about 60,000 fatalities. If a little more than a third of those are fighters, it may alter the international perception of the war. For example, if 25,000 fighters belong to armed factions had been killed and the total number of Palestinian deaths is overestimated by 10%, the number of genuine civilian fatalities drops to around 29,000. That's still tragic, but it challenges the narrative of indiscriminate slaughter and genocide that Hamas is promoting. Will we even know the true number of combatants killed? Probably not. It will be difficult to know while Hamas, PIJ are in control of the data. These are not transparent actors. They are terrorist organizations fighting for survival, and I suspect they are manipulating casualty figures as a tool of information warfare. Exactly. I could elaborate further, but I hope this provides an argument as to why the Ministry of Health's statistics, including Hamas' silence about its fighters, would have been killed, should be treated with heavy skepticism. I think he raises, like Joe Trusman raises some very good points, like I did a moment ago. Why in the world would you even want to run cover or trust a known terrorism organization? What is wrong with you? I understand there are probably some innocent Palestinian people that have been caught up in this and been killed. That's the reality of war. Unfortunately, same thing with Germany. But it's not Israel's responsibility, right? They want to get the hostages back. It's not their responsibility, and they weren't going out of their way to kill innocent Palestinians. They're going out of their way to knock out Hamas. But keep in mind that a vast majority, if not all of the Palestinian people, support Hamas. They voted them in. So there's that. Also, a vast majority of them would definitely be scared. I'm not saying they wouldn't be. But don't run cover for Hamas. Piers responds by going, "Thanks, Joe. I appreciate your respectful response and found it very interesting. But my understanding is that the health authority in Gaza has historically, pre October 7th, published casualty numbers that turned out to be reasonably accurate. Reasonably accurate. That's not true. Hamas has lied a number of times about casualties, mainly the number of combatants killed. In 2009, they initially claimed 50 combatants killed. They admitted it was 600 to 700. Why in the world would Hamas admit how many of their fighters are gone? Why? If they did, then it would show that Israel is actually really defeating them and crushing them. And they don't want that. They want to be seen as strong, to be winning, also as the victim, too. So, on one hand, they want to claim to be the victim. On the next hand, they want to claim to be strong. And people fall for the victim line, not the strong line, because why in the world would Hamas be strong when they're being bombed? Oh, no, the victim line is a lot better than that, isn't it? See what happens when you do a little bit of rational thinking and you actually know a little bit of Hamas? Oh, but no, that can't be possible, could it, Jay? Unfortunately, it is. Anyway, people like Piers Morgan, unfortunately, yes, they have a massive platform, and my platform is still growing, I guess. So the truth will get out there eventually. It just takes some time. But bad faith individuals that don't use their brains and they just post straight away about dumb things that he just said. Honestly, a bunch of Israelis responded to Piers Morgan's post, and they are a hell of a lot smarter than Piers Morgan. Let's just point that out. Guy needs to wake up. But anyway, that's enough from me. You guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.